Before this exchange even begins, it helps to understand what is really at stake. This is not just a clash of personalities, it is a debate over how Congress holds top officials accountable on foreign policy, national security, and public trust. In moments like this, the format matters almost as much as the substance. So as you watch, consider this: are we seeing effective oversight, or a hearing structure that rewards conflict more than clarity?
Either give me a yes, give me a no.
Well, I'm going to give you my answer if you want my answer.
I want a yes
this is not
or
a
a
game show.
no. Reclaiming my time.
Well, reclaim your time, but it's not a game show. I get to answer. These are complex questions. Let me answer.
Mr. Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time. The filibustering takes place in the Senate, not here.
I'm not filibustering. I'm trying to answer your question.
Mr. Chairman, it's our job to oversee the State Department. You can't do that by having think tank witnesses come before us. Our job isn't to oversee the think tanks. In 2023, we had 44 government witnesses. This year, we have our first. And I hope very much that we have not only the secretary, but the undersecretaries and assistant secretaries so that we can really do our job. Secretary Rubio, in the 1970s, there was a powerful Middle East monarch who claimed to be a friend of the United States. Wasn't, may very well have been, claimed to be at least agreeable to Israel. And so in the 1970s, we transferred enormous, sophisticated weapons to him. In 1979, the Shah was deposed and all those weapons were in the hands of the Ayatollah. Today, MBS wants a nuclear weapon. But he says what he wants is a nuclear cooperation agreement. Well, we have a nuclear cooperation agreement with the United Arab Emirates and Turkey and Morocco that all provide for a gold standard of safety. Can you assure us that you will not enter into a nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia that does not have that same gold standard of security to make sure they're not building a nuclear weapon?
Well, first, I will tell you that there has been no conversation about entering into one. For example, during the recent trip.
Can you? I've got limited time.
I can't. So here's the thing. I can.
Sir, either give me a yes, give me a no.
Well, I'm going to give you my answer if you want my answer.
I want a yes or a no. Reclaiming my time.
Well, reclaim your time, but it's not a game show. I get to answer. These are complex questions. Let me answer.
Mr. Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time. The filibustering takes place in the Senate, not here.
I'm not filibustering. I'm trying to answer your question.
Let's go on to the next question. With regard to Iran, can you assure us that you will continue sanctions on Iran until they verifiably agree to abandon all enrichment? That's a yes or no question.
No, it's not.
Well, can you give me a yes or no, or should I go on to the next question?
We believe that Iran should not be allowed to enrich uranium. Correct.
You believe that it should?
We believe that an acceptable deal with Iran is one in which they cannot enrich, because if they can enrich, they can weaponize.
I know why we don't want. I asked you, will we agree? Will we continue the sanctions until they verifiably agree to get rid of?
Oh, you have no worry about us.
This is the point where the exchange becomes bigger than a simple disagreement. On one side, the lawmaker is pushing for clear, direct answers on issues like Iran, Saudi nuclear cooperation, and foreign influence. On the other, the Secretary is signaling that these subjects are too complex to reduce to a yes or no formula. Both dynamics are common in congressional hearings, and both shape how the public interprets what happened. It is also worth noting that phrases like reclaiming my time are a standard part of House procedure, but repeated interruptions can make it harder for viewers to judge whether a witness is evading the question or simply being cut off. So here is the key question. When a hearing becomes this confrontational, does it create accountability, or just a more dramatic clip?
The worry was the previous administration. This administration has been...
Your refusal to give me an answer is loud and clear.
No,
is reclaiming my time. Mr. Chair, you told us about all these wonderful business deals that were announced in the Middle East. It's reminiscent of the first year of the first term of Donald Trump, where he announced a $10 billion investment by Foxconn in Wisconsin. It is still an empty field. I am sure that the only deals announced in the Middle East that will actually happen were the bribery deals, the $400 million plane and the $2 billion Abu Dhabi will put into the cryptocurrency sponsored by Mr. Trump. TikTok. Mr. Secretary, you led the effort to say that it shouldn't be controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. We passed a law with your help. That law requires that we ban TikTok now because all of the expiration dates have have expired. But instead, we saw Chinese interests affiliated with TikTok transfer $300 million into the Trump coin, which is a pure gift. It's $300 million for nothing but monopoly money. And so there's a word in Mandarin for this. It's called bribery. And it raises the question that I'll ask you to respond to for the record, and that is there any statute this administration will not violate for a $300 million Chinese bribe? We next focus on on USAID. Musk gutted it. He said no one died as a result. Or do you agree that no one has died yet as a result of the chainsawing of USAID? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, the question is, has anyone what?
Has anyone in the world died because of what Elon Musk did?
Listen.
Yes or no, reclaiming my time. If you won't answer, that's a loud answer.
No one has died because of USAID.
The people who have died as a result of cutting off the oxygen of a woman in Burma and denying HIV/AIDS treatment to those in Africa.
By the end of this segment, the story is no longer just about policy. It becomes a test of evidence, tone, and political messaging. Allegations involving bribery, sanctions, TikTok, or deaths tied to aid decisions are serious claims, and they require careful verification beyond any single exchange or viral moment. That is why context matters. Hearings can generate heat very quickly, but real understanding comes from documentation, follow-up reporting, and the willingness to separate rhetoric from fact. What do you think? Was this strong oversight, political theater, or some combination of both? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more balanced, fact-based breakdowns like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
They are dead now at the hands of Elon Musk and his co-conspirators.
Chair now recognizes Representative.
All right, let's unpack what you just watched. Because that wasn't a congressional hearing. That was a congressman running a 5-topic speed drill on the nation's top diplomat and getting frustrated when the diplomat tried to actually answer. If you've ever wondered why nothing gets done in Washington, you just saw it in real time. Let's start with the setup. Sherman opens with the Shah of Iran, the 1970s, sophisticated weapons, the Ayatollah. It's a history lesson designed to make one point: don't trust Middle East monarchs with nuclear technology. Fair enough. It's a legitimate concern. But then he asks Rubio to give a blanket guarantee on Saudi nuclear agreements, and the second Rubio opens his mouth to give context, Sherman hits him with reclaiming my time. You ask the man a question about nuclear policy with a sovereign nation, and you want a bumper sticker answer? That's not oversight. That's theater. And this is where Rubio draws the line. It's not a game show. I get to answer. These are complex questions. That line landed because it's true. Nuclear cooperation agreements aren't yes or no territory. They involve enrichment thresholds, verification protocols, alliance dynamics. But Sherman doesn't want the complexity. He wants the clip. And Rubio called him on it to his face. Then we get to Iran. Sherman asks whether the administration will maintain sanctions until Iran verifiably abandons all enrichment. Rubio starts to answer, and he actually agrees on the core principle. He says clearly, an acceptable deal is one where Iran cannot enrich, because if they can enrich, they can weaponize. That's about as hawkish and clear as you can get. But Sherman doesn't acknowledge that agreement. He bulldozes right past it because Rubio didn't deliver it in the exact yes or no format Sherman demanded. And then Sherman says, your refusal to answer is loud and clear. The man literally just answered. Sherman just wasn't listening. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Foxconn comparison. Sherman compares the Middle East business deals announced during Trump's trip to the Foxconn factory in Wisconsin. And look, Foxconn is a fair criticism. That deal did underdeliver. But Sherman doesn't stop there. He jumps straight to calling the Middle East deals bribery, the plane, the Abu Dhabi crypto investment, and wraps it all up with the TikTok situation. 3 completely different issues mashed into one accusation in about 45 seconds, and the TikTok segment deserves its own attention. Sherman actually has a point buried in there. He and Rubio were on the same side of the TikTok ban legislation. They both agreed the app shouldn't be controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. That's common ground. But instead of building on that common ground and asking a serious question about enforcement, Sherman calls the Trump crypto coin monopoly money and asks if there's any statute the administration won't violate for a $300 million Chinese bribe. That's not a question. That's a closing argument in a trial that hasn't happened. And it guarantees Rubio can't engage, because you can't answer an accusation disguised as a question. Then comes the USAID moment. And this is the most revealing part of the entire exchange. Sherman asks Rubio point blank, "Has anyone died because of what Elon Musk did to USAID?" And for the first time in this whole back and forth, Rubio gives a direct answer. "No one has died because of us." Clear. Definitive. No hedging. But Sherman doesn't accept it. He immediately lists Burma and HIV treatment in Africa and declares people are dead at the hands of Elon Musk and his co-conspirators. That's an extraordinary claim. And he made it without evidence, without data, without a single named individual, just an accusation thrown at the wall in the final seconds of his time. Here's what the media won't show you about this exchange. Rubio actually agreed with Sherman on several key points. Iran shouldn't enrich uranium. The Saudi question deserves careful handling. TikTok's Chinese ownership is a problem. But none of that registered because Sherman wasn't there to find agreement. He was there to create confrontation. And the tragedy is, some of his questions were legitimate. But when you ask 8 questions in 5 minutes and cut off every answer, you're not conducting oversight. You're performing for the camera. And let's talk about what Rubio did right. He didn't take the bait. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't get personal. He simply said, "These are complex questions and I deserve the chance to answer them." In a town that rewards the loudest voice, that kind of composure is rare, and it's exactly what you want from the person representing America to the rest of the world. Whether you agree with every position this administration takes or not, you have to respect a Secretary of State who refuses to reduce nuclear policy and Iran sanctions to a game show buzzer round. Brad Sherman came in with a script. Rubio came in with substance. And when the cameras stopped rolling, only one of them had actually said something worth remembering. That's the difference between questioning and grandstanding. And America just saw both, live and unfiltered. If this kind of no-spin breakdown is what you've been looking for, where we show you the full clip and then tell you what actually happened, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop your take in the comments. Did Rubio handle this the right way? Or should he have given Sherman the yes or no answers? I want to hear from you. I'll see you in the next one.